head coach of the Knicks. Here he was after the game, frustrated by how the game was officiated.
SGA he's a tough cover, and he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that he's getting hit.
Janae, do you agree or disagree with Coach Brown on that point about SGA and the calls?
I disagree on the timing of this. I know that there was a call in the first half that sort of made him a villain and reignited those things that NBA fans love to say about SGA. I'll put some context, behind my perspective, though. I grew up watching the game in Houston, Texas, when James Harden emerged as a dominant player and MVP. And he had the same conversation surrounding his game because he was such a prolific scorer and shooter. And he manipulated the game to his benefit when it came to drawing fouls. So I've just started to notice the pattern. Years by years, MVPs will take every edge they can to be great.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have to talk about something that happened on First Take that has the internet buzzing. The New York Knicks lost a heartbreaker last night to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They fought back from 15 down. They dominated the paint. They dominated second chance points. They dominated fast breaks. And they still lost. But that is not the story. The story is what happened after the game. Knicks head coach Mike Brown was frustrated. He was upset about the officiating. And he said something about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that caught everybody's attention. Then, on First Take this morning, the panel had to react. And let me tell you, things got interesting. Roll the clip. Did you catch that? Mike Brown said SGA does a great job of convincing the referees. He said probably better than anybody in the league. And then Chindi Carter had to respond. But here is the thing. Chindi did something really smart. She put it in perspective. She went back to her roots. She grew up in Houston watching James Harden. She watched an MVP manipulate the game to his benefit year after year. And she recognizes that this is just what great players do. Now, let's talk about what Mike Brown said. Convincing the referees. That is an interesting choice of words. He didn't say flopping. He didn't say cheating. He said convincing. Because at the end of the day, that is what the best players do. They understand the game within the game. They understand that referees are human. They understand that if you sell contact, if you show the referee that you got hit, you are more likely to get the call. And here is the stat that Chindi dropped that everybody needs to hear. SGA only had 7 free throws last night. 7. For a guy who is the reigning MVP, for a guy who is the reigning Finals MVP, for a guy who attacks the rim as much as he does, 7 free throws is not some outrageous number. It is not like he went to the line 20 times. He had 7. But this is the narrative that follows certain players. James Harden dealt with it his whole career. Trae Young deals with it. Now SGA deals with it. And it is interesting to me that we only have this conversation about certain guys. When Michael Jordan got to the line, it was called aggressive. When Kobe Bryant got to the line, it was called footwork and craftiness. When LeBron James gets to the line, it is called dominance. But when SGA does it, it is convincing the referees. I am not saying Mike Brown is wrong. He is a coach. He is competitive. He is frustrated that his team lost. I get it. But let's look at the bigger picture. The Knicks had every advantage in that game. They outscored the Thunder 23-4 in points off turnovers. They outscored them 46-20 in the paint. They outscored them 20-10 in second chance points. They outscored them 14-2 on fast break points. And they still lost. So, the question is not about SGA getting calls. The question is, how do you have all of those advantages and still lose the game? Stephen A. brought it up. Jalen Brunson was held to 16 points. He shot 2 for 10 at one point. Cason Wallace did a hell of a job on him. Karl Anthony Towns played well offensively, but he fouled out. He put his hand in the cookie jar too many times. That is not on the referees. That is on the player. And let's give credit where credit is due. The Thunder were missing Jalen Williams. They were missing Isaiah Hartenstein. They were missing Alex Caruso. Chet Holmgren was banged up late in the game. And they still went into Madison Square Garden and got a win against a Knicks team that is supposed to be a contender in the East. That is toughness. That is depth. That is culture. Chindy talked about the Knicks fight. She talked about them getting the heart back. And she is right. The Knicks have looked better lately. Their defense has been top 5 over the last 10 games. Jalen Brunson is taking charges, which is the hardest thing to get a superstar to do. Karl Anthony Towns had 9 offensive rebounds. There are positive signs. But positive signs don't win championships. And the Eastern Conference is wide open. The Celtics are still figuring out Tatum. The Cavs are integrating Harden late. The Pistons are for real. The Knicks have a window. But if they are going to go anywhere, they can't rely on the referees. They can't complain about SGA getting calls. They have to close games. And by the way, let's talk about SGA for a second. The guy is a killer. He hit a clutch 3 late. He got to his spots. He did what MVPs do. And Mike Brown, whether he wants to admit it or not, knows that. He is just frustrated. And I get it. Coaching is emotional. Losing is emotional. But the tape doesn't lie. At the end of the day, the Thunder are the reigning champions for a reason. They have depth. They have a closer. They have a guy in SGA who understands how to win. And if the Knicks want to get to where the Thunder are, they have to stop worrying about the whistles and start worrying about the scoreboard. I want to know what you think. Is Mike Brown right about SGA? Does he get a favorable whistle? Or is this just what happens when you are great? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe if you want to stay locked in. We are building something real here. See you next time. Peace.